As everyone is likely aware, censorship is getting more and more out of control. This is ranging everywhere from laws being enacted designed to protect children that are also controlling who has access to what information, denying children access to mental health information, and kind of controlling access to things that could be defined as political speech or political rhetoric by putting it behind an age-gated wall that would require you to submit your identification in order to access those websites, as well as the issues that are going on with Steam and itch.io, where adult-themed content is being censored and being removed from the platform. They are actively taking down, delisting at the very least, anything that can be considered adult theme, or a lot of things that can be considered adult theme across these platforms. This is all a result of actions taken by an advocacy group called Collective Shout. Yeah, Collective Shout. And these actions are them trying to pressure payment processors, the companies that handle payment processing, to not work with companies that might allow content that is considered offensive to them. Now, you might say, okay, that makes sense. If there's, adult video style content on some of these websites, it might make sense. And since a lot of these websites or these organizations, Steam and itch.io, allow children onto them, whether or not, they have decent regulations to prevent children on them. Yeah, sure, delist them or put the adult content behind some sort of protective measure so children can't get access to it. That could kind of make sense a little bit, maybe, to someone. But a lot of the stuff that's being seen, and other people cover this in a lot more detail than I'm really going to at the moment. Penguin ZO, obviously, big name in it, in going into more detail about the ridiculousness of what is being censored. But some of these things that are being censored are games like Detroit Become Human, being censored for depictions of violence against women and children, but the purpose of the depictions of those violence isn't promoting it, it is actively condemning it and showing the reasons why those actions are not okay. So, yeah, mixed messaging there. But the bigger point of this video is the fact that people are fighting back, including some big companies. One, I'm going to start with what is a payment processor? A payment processor is an intermediary, because nothing in the world today can just be simple and done in a simplistic way that is easy for everyone to understand, and there's no middleman kind of thing. No, there's a middleman for every single action you ever take. Payment processors are the middleman for using things like credit cards. They basically interact with the banking institution that the credit card is issued through, or the debit card is issued through, and the company that you're buying something from, and they handle all the transactions and a lot of the, nitpicky stuff that goes on in between there. So it's not necessarily the banks so much as it is the payment processors that the banks are using. On that, interesting little bit, maybe it's just trying to deny responsibility, maybe it's true, but one of the payment processors, MasterCard, has gone forward and stated that they didn't have any part in this decision making, that they weren't the ones that told Steam that they needed to take the stuff down or they wouldn't work with them anymore, that it was instead one of their intermediaries. It was someone else that reached out to them and said they weren't going to be compliant with it. Specifically, I have a quote down here. Valve's statement here is stating that they actually tried to reach out to MasterCard, but what they're saying is MasterCard did not communicate with Valve directly despite our request to do so. MasterCard communicated with payment processors and their acquiring bank. Payment processors communicated this with Valve and re-replied by outlining Steam's policy since 2018 of attempting to distribute games that are legal for distribution. Payment processors rejected this and specifically cited MasterCard's Rule 5.12.7 and risk to the MasterCard brand. Rule 5.12.7 states a merchant must not submit to its acquirer and a customer must not submit to the interchange system any transaction that is illegal or in the sole discretion of the corporation may damage the goodwill of the corporation or reflect negatively on the mark. It goes on, the sale of a product or service including an image which is potentially offensive and lacks serious artistic value, such as, by the way of example, not limitation, images of non-consensual sexual behavior, sexual exploitation of a minor, non-consensual mutilation of a person or body part, and bestiality, or any other material that the corporation deemed unacceptable to sell in connection with the mark. So basically what they're saying is MasterCard wasn't the one that directly told them that they needed to take these things off of Steam. It's just the intermediaries that MasterCard is working with, that MasterCard supposedly told to tell them. Because MasterCard's statement on it is MasterCard has not evaluated any game or required restrictions of any activity on game creator sites and platforms. Contrary to the media reports and allegations, our payment network follows standards based on the rule of law. Put simply, we allow all lawful purchases on our network. At the same time, we require merchants to have appropriate controls to ensure MasterCards cannot be used for unlawful purchases, including illegal adult content. Now, I can see this as one of two things. I can see this as because I like to play the devil's advocate a little bit. I like to, follow what my buddy Dan calls Hob, Hanlon's razor, Occam's razor, and the bell curve. Hanlon's razor is never attribute to malice what could be summed up by ignorance. Occam's razor is, the simplest solution is, or the most obvious solution is most likely the correct one. And the bell curve of 50% of people are below average intelligence. Or technically 49, but nonetheless. So to play into Hob, to play into the Hanlon's razor part of this, let's assume MasterCard has no ill intent. I can see this being a situation where, because of these pressure from these advocacy groups, from Collective Shout, onto this and onto the intermediaries have chosen to interpret that rule 5.12.7 as, since these things have adult theming, not even adult video style theming, some of them, but just adult theming, they are rated M for mature kind of thing, that they can now interpret that rule to say that would potentially be bad to the brand because they're receiving a lot of pressure from these advocacy groups. I can also see it, and more likely see it, be MasterCard did not, and probably Visa too, did not properly anticipate the amount of backlash they would receive from these actions. They did not think that the gaming market was going to lose their minds about this as much, and now they are receiving thousands and thousands of phone calls to their call centers every day complaining about the fact that they're doing this, and now they're trying to be like, whoa, it wasn't us, we just want to make sure everyone's following the law. We didn't do this. It's blame the intermediary. They have set up a straw man, they have set up a fall guy to take the blame for actions that they invoked so that they could try to mitigate the hate. I don't really think they understand that the way the internet works means they're going to get the hate anyways. Nonetheless, I can see that being a more likely option, but, show both sides of the argument. But what I love coming out of this is this, injustice happening, this attempted censorship, this attempt to control what we can and cannot see, and in this case, play, to such an extreme degree, to a degree that is very 1984. It's not about safety and protecting people. It's about control. It's about this particular group doesn't like adult content, and how dare they? And they decided they're going to take our rights away because they don't like it, because their interpretation of freedom is screwed up. But there's a lot of fighting back, and one of these people that chose to fight back is GoG. GoG is the company owned by CD Projekt Red. If you know CD Projekt Red, they produce games like The Witcher. So GoG recently released a statement on Twitter saying, thanks to the dedication of developers and publishers, we are launching freedomtobuy.games. To raise awareness on censorship in gaming, 13 games are now available for free for 48 hours as a part of Stand for Creative Freedom and Preservation. We believe that if a game is legal and responsibly made, players should be able to enjoy it today and decades from now. It's our statement: when games are delisted today because of the discomfort, reviving them tomorrow becomes exponentially harder. Visit freedomtobuy.games to learn more. These 13 games that they have decided to make completely free for 48 hours include games like Postal 2, a game with a lot of gratuitous violence, or games like Hoonie Pop, a very obviously adult-themed game, and just a bunch of ones that I won't even mention here because YouTube will probably get really upset at me for it. This is all to say that despite the fact this is happening, it is really, really cool to see this big company, a fairly successful company. They're not, Steam level, and not Microsoft, but this large, successful company say, screw you guys, I'm not playing ball. I don't give a shit about your advocacy group. I don't give a shit if it upsets you. We believe in freedom of speech. We believe in freedom of expression. We believe in creative liberty. We believe in allowing people to do the things that they are legally allowed to do, despite the fact that it might upset you. And that's pretty awesome. So I just want to talk about that. I just wanted to release a quick update about that. But with that, I'm done here for now. If more stuff comes out of this, I might start following this whole thing going on too if anything interesting happens. So please subscribe and turn on notifications so that if I put out another video, you'll get to see it. If you are, leave a like, leave a comment. That will help the video do a whole lot better. If you are so inclined, sign up for a membership. Hit that little join button down there. Sign up for a membership. The membership stuff's over there. All the membership funds right now, the way I pay my editor is with an ad split, but also he gets, right now he's getting the large portion of the ad revenue, but also all the membership money goes straight to him. Every dollar that I get through memberships is going to go straight to my editor until it gets to a point where I can afford to hire, between ad rev split and memberships, I can afford to hire him on full time. And once it gets to that point, then, you know, some of the membership money might go to me, it might go to expanding the team. But ultimately what that will allow is if we get to the point where I can hire him on full time, that will allow us to put out more content, better quality content, more consistently, spread the reach because there's a lot of different projects I want to start working on, and improve what we're able to provide. So if you're so inclined, please sign up for a membership. It would be awesome. But thank you. Have a lovely day.